The basic desire behind every explosion is to be analyzed. It's a strong desire which makes you do any activity. If the activity crosses the boundaries, permitted boundaries, we have to analyze the desires, the needs. Welcome once again to News Analysis. News Analysis, a weekly magazine on current affairs. To begin with the main points in a nutshell. Why does Mumbai bleed again and again? Mumbai blast, investigators look to CCTV for clues. Rebekah broke Resigns from Murdoch's British subsidiary. Troops kill Kashmir militants as fighting continues. Syria protesters die as troops open fire. US recognizes Libyan rebel TNC as legitimate authority. And now the news in detail. Why does Mumbai bleed again and again? Some 700 people have been killed in more than half a dozen militant attacks in Mumbai since 1993, including the horrific assault in November 2008, and the violence shows no signs of abating. The most commonly peddled narrative is that by attacking its much-touted financial and entertainment capital, you deal a body blow to India and get global media attention. But that's only a small part of the story. Many residents will tell you that Mumbai began going downhill in early 1993 when it convulsed in religious rioting and murder for 2 weeks. The image of Mumbai as a liberal city ruled by law and reason has long turned out to be a chimera. Over the years, say many analysts, the state's authority has been eroded as a nexus of greedy politicians, a thriving underworld, unscrupulous property developers, and a discredited police force seem to have been ruling the roost, undermining institutions. Last month, gunmen shot at the city's leading crime journalist on a rainy morning and zipped away openly on their motorbikes. A block of flats meant for war widows was allegedly grabbed by politicians, retired army officers, and other such privileged folks until the courts stepped in. Conspiracies hatched by politicians, builders, criminals, Hindu militants, and Muslim dons appeared to be the underlying dynamic of the city. Anger and violence rule the street. Not much has changed. The poisonous cocktail endures and makes the city easy to attack. The rich in Mumbai, as a friend says, live with one foot in New York and one foot in the city. The poor and the middle class bleed. Mumbai blast, investigators look to CCTV for clues. Indian investigators looking into Wednesday's blast in Mumbai have been examining security camera footage for vital clues, media reports say. An unnamed detective told the state-run DD News that footage from one of the sites revealed suspicious behavior of some people. The 3 explosions killed 20 people and injured dozens. The attacks are the deadliest in India since 2008, when gunmen killed 165 people in a 3-day raid in Mumbai. Home Minister P. Chidambaram has said the blast could have been the work of a small group who had worked in a very clandestine manner. No group has said it planted the bombs, but suspicion among some officials and analysts has fallen on the Indian Mujahideen, a group which has claimed to have carried out similar attacks in the past. Investigators who are going through the security camera footage and forensic evidence from the 3 sites are hoping to get a breakthrough, media reports say. The biggest explosion occurred at the Opera House business district in the south of the city, in an area known as the hub of diamond traders. The detective quoted by DD News said footage from the site showed people behaving suspiciously. But until we question them or record their statement, we cannot say anything about their involvement, he added. We are calling all those people seen in the footage to get a clearer picture of the incident or any details that may help us in the probe. On Thursday, Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said the perpetrators of the Mumbai blast shall be pursued relentlessly and brought to justice quickly. The other blast hit Zaveri Bazaar, an area with many jewelry shops, and Dadar district in the city center. Mumbai has been targeted many times in recent years. Rebekah Brooks resigns from Murdoch's British subsidiary. After days of mounting pressure from the politicians and investors, Rebekah Brooks, the embattled chief executive of Rupert Murdoch's British newspaper operations, announced her resignation on Friday in another stunning blow to Mr. Murdoch's once all-powerful empire, now under investigation in Britain and the United States. Her resignation came a day after Mr. Murdoch, the chairman of News Corporation, and his son James reversed themselves and said they would testify next week before a parliamentary panel probing the cascading scandal over phone hacking that has forced the closure of the News of the World tabloid and the collapse of the $12 billion bid to assume full control of Britain's biggest satellite broadcaster. Until the scandal erupted, Miss Brooks, 43, had been a star within News International, the British newspaper subsidiary of Mr. Murdoch's News Corporation, editing 2 influential tabloids and rising rapidly to head the division. British analysts describe her as enjoying the status of a favored daughter, with close ties not only to the Murdoch family but also leading politicians. But her resignation had seemed over more likely as the police arrested some of her former colleagues. Politicians on the benches of Parliament demanded her resignation. The price of stock in Murdoch Holdings faltered and investors voiced concern. Late Thursday, BBC television broadcast an interview with Prince Al Walid bin Talal of Saudi Arabia, identified as News Corporation's second biggest shareholder, in which he said that if Miss Brooks was involved in wrongdoing, for sure she has to go. Miss Brooks, who has denied that she knew of the phone hacking while she was editor of the News of the World, said in an email to her staff, "My desire to remain on the bridge has made me a focal point of the debate." This is now detracting attention from all our honest endeavors to fix the problems of the past. Therefore, I have given Rupert and James Murdoch my resignation. While it has been a subject of discussion, this time my resignation has been accepted. She was replaced by Tom Mockridge, the head of Sky Italia, News Corporation's Italian satellite broadcaster. Troops kill Kashmir militants as fighting continues. Security forces in Indian-administered Kashmir say they have killed 3 militants in a clash in Kupwara district. Up to 5 militants entered in a house in Maidanpura village. A large number of soldiers and policemen surrounded the house, an army spokesman said. Lieutenant Colonel J.S. Brar said 3 soldiers had been injured in the violence which was ongoing. Fighting began after a woman who was being held hostage there sneaked out. Kashmir, which is claimed by both India and Pakistan, has recently seen a drop in violence. Thousands of people have been killed in the region since an armed rebellion against Indian rule erupted in 1989. The operation in Kupwara was launched early on Friday after the army received information that some militants were holding a meeting in the house, Lieutenant Colonel Brar said. Security forces began firing after the woman emerged from the house, officials said. Residents had been asked to leave the area, reports said. Syria, protesters die as troops open fire. Syrian security forces have opened fire on anti-government protesters in cities across the country, leaving at least 14 people dead, activists say. At least 7 people died in the capital Damascus, where about 20,000 took part in protests, reports say. The demonstrators appear to be among the largest since the anti-government uprising began in March. The government has launched a national dialogue, but many protesters want President Bashar al-Assad to quit. Protests have routinely taken place following Friday prayers. There are reports of mass demonstrations in several locations, including the cities of Homs, Dara, Deir al-Zur, and Idlib, and in the Damascus neighborhood of Kobun. The Syrian League for the Defense of Human Rights estimated about 20,000 people were protesting in Damascus. Spokesman Abdul Karim Ruhawi said 2 people had been killed there and 3 more in Idlib. Rami Abdul Rahman of the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said about 350,000 people had taken to the streets in the eastern city of Deir al-Zur.